Welcome back to Keep It Electric. This is episode 79. I'm not going to waste any time here. This is a special Wednesday night drop. I will be returning back to the Friday night drops next week. Opening days tomorrow. There's a lot to discuss. Let's jump right into this. Kyle Raleigh, big dumper, just secured his bag. Seattle has locked him down with a 6-year, $105 million extension, making him the fifth catcher in MLB history to land a 9-figure deal. That's some elite company. We got Joe Mauer, Buster Posey, JT Realmuto, and Will Smith. So the deal keeps Raleigh in Seattle through 2030. Let's be real. He's earned every penny here. I have been screaming for this alongside all the Mariners fans. Last year, 34 home runs, 100 ribbies. Let's not forget, he's so great defensively. Platinum Glove winner. The dude isn't just a slugger. He has been a game changer, shouldering the Mariners team for the last 3 years. The front office is finally putting their money where their mouth is. Who's next? Hopefully Logan Gilbert. But regardless, Raleigh and Julio are locked up long-term for the Mariners. Hopefully they will turn their sights on the rotation. The rotation is full of studs, and keeping them around would mean serious contention for the Mariners for years to come. Now, this is great news. And the next news, is emotional. Mitch Haniger was officially released this Sunday. The Mariners are moving on. And Haniger wasn't just another guy in the lineup. He was the guy for the Mariners for a long stretch of time. He was a symbol of resilience for the Mariners. And, honestly, the maybe next year mentality, always, like you knew you were always in play when Mitch Haniger was in the lineup. So we'll remember his clutch moments. We'll remember his club record, 8 walk-offs. And let's not forget, that was one of Jerry DiPoto's big moves, snagging him when he first got the role. I think it was a year into his role as the GM at the time. So it stings to see Haniger go, but his legacy is legit. He took to social media upon his release. The quote is here: "Putting on a Mariners uniform, playing at T-Mobile Park is something I'll cherish forever. To our fans, my teammates, and everyone a part of this organization, thank you for embracing my family and me. We have so many great memories to look back on." Mitch Haniger's a stand-up guy, and he will most certainly be missed. But we have to keep our eyes forward, and with that, his exit opens up a spot for a new fan favorite. That's Rowdy Tellez. So Rowdy Tellez will be on the Mariners roster come opening day. And this is exactly the kind of lefty power bat Seattle needed in this lineup. Now, I wasn't thinking much of it when we brought him in, but, he's had a hot spring training and he's earned this spot. So he's bringing in his slugger mentality. When he connects, the ball stays hit, it's gone. He's had his ups and downs. He's tapped into a 30 home run season before. He could be a game changer, especially in a lineup that needs some power behind a guy like Kyle Raleigh. I think the move with him is that we'll see him in a straight up platoon. We'll probably see him at the DH spot. We'll probably see him spell Luke Raley at the first base spot. Either way, Seattle should be able to expect a few tanks coming out of Rowdy Tellez now. This next story I think is super interesting. Some may not find it that interesting, but Mickey Moniak, the outfielder for the Angels, was released. Moniak is known to us as an absolute Mariners killer. I mean, the guy, he's appeared in 24 games against the Mariners. In those 24 games, he has 20 hits, 6 home runs, and 11 ribbies. He also had the game where he hit 2 home runs against the Mariners. I believe that was like a Thursday or a Sunday or something like that, in Anaheim. 2 home runs, including a game-tying home run in the 7th and then a walk-off in the 9th. His overall stats are a mixed bag. He had a big 2023, but had a bad 2024. I still think that he's a low-risk, high-reward addition. The Mariners could take a flyer on a guy like Mickey Moniak for maybe a 4th or 5th outfield spot. Now, you can call me crazy, but I'd rather him be in a Mariners uniform than have him be wearing another uniform and still being our Achilles heel. If Jerry hasn't picked up the phone yet, I can only assume that he's being restrained from the phone right now, because this guy is kind of right up Jerry DiPoto's alley. He would be cost efficient, and he could definitely supply a spark to the lineup. All right, so it's time for my second ever MLB standings predictions. Hopefully there'll be some graphics up if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to it, then just follow closely. So I have the Braves taking the division in the NL East. Behind them, I have the Mets. The Braves, I have them at 92 wins. I have the Mets at 89 wins. The Phillies at 88 wins. I have the Nationals winning a few more games at 73. And then it's just going to be a long season for the Marlins, 58 wins. Can the Mets finally put it together? They definitely have the talent there. We've seen them stumble before, but if they have a full, healthy season, especially from the rotation, could they challenge a healthy Braves? We'll take a look at that when it comes down to the playoff predictions. So the NL Central, I did put the Cubs back on top, and I felt like that was a kind of a hard decision. I do think the Reds are going to be healthy, so I have them right behind the Cubs. I have the Cubs at 88 wins, the Reds at 87 wins. They have the Brewers behind them at 84 wins. The Brewers have a lot of questions right now, and their rotation, they're starting the season with a 3-man rotation. Like that's going to be hard for them. The Pirates still figuring out 78 wins, and I actually have the Cardinals in last place, taking a step back at 76 wins. Can the Cubs pitching staff hold up? They had a big breakout last season. They could run away with the division if they're all healthy, and with the addition of Kyle Tucker, they're going to be a dangerous team. The NL West is going to be the Dodgers again. There's no question. I do have the Dodgers winning 102 games. The lineup is stacked. The rotation stays healthy. They might be in the World Series. The Padres taking a step back at 86 wins. The Diamondbacks behind them at 85. Then the Giants at 81 and 81. Rockies at 63 wins. Are the Padres built to last? I'm not sure. I don't know if they can keep up with the Dodgers. I think they'll just be fighting for a wild card spot. So that puts my seeding at the Dodgers 1, Braves 2, Cubs 3, Mets 4, Phillies 5, and then the Reds actually squeeze into the last wild card spot at 6. Let's take a look at what we have for the AL. We're going to start with the AL East. The Yankees don't have enough depth, I don't think, this year, and losing Garrett Cole with a shorthanded starting rotation is going to be really hard for them as well. So I actually have the Red Sox figuring it out enough to win the division with 92 wins. I have the Orioles dangerously close, and behind them also winning 90 games. So both of them would win 90 games this season. The Yankees behind the Orioles at 84 wins. The Blue Jays still didn't figure it out enough, 78 and 84. And I have the Rays in last place, which is kind of risky at 77 wins. Can the Red Sox put it all together again? They spent the money. Can they actually sustain it for 162 games? The AL Central, I have the Guardians on top. This was actually not easy. I have them winning division at 89 wins. And then the Royals behind them at 87, the Twins at 86. Right behind them. I don't think the Tigers are going to figure it out. I have them going 80 and 82. I don't think they'll have the same luck. And then the White Sox, yeah, let's just leave that alone. The Royals, I think, could be legit. I think they made some really weird moves with their roster this season. I'm not really understanding. They're not choosing to lean on their young talent. They sent a lot of good players back to the minors, and they are relying on some of their veteran utility guys like Biggio. I don't know if that's really a smart move. I think they will figure it out, and I think that their opening day roster will not really be the same by the trade deadline. They're going to make a lot of moves, and I think they're actually going to be competitive, even though I don't like what they have out of the gate right now. So let's finish with the AL West. And I tried to not be biased about this, and you'll see when it comes to the playoffs. But we're going with the Mariners. Screw it. We're going with the Mariners. All right? I'm picking the Mariners. It's going to be way too close, I believe. I think the Mariners are going to be a fringe playoff team, but if they don't win the division, they'll be a fringe playoff team. But I think they don't even really need bounce backs from every single player that they're expecting them from. I think just a couple of bounce backs would be enough to get them just enough wins to win the division. Yes. And am I going to pick them every year? I might. I don't know. But I think there's a few extra wins there that will help them get the division. But I don't think it's going to be a runaway. I think it's going to be extremely close. And those couple wins are going to be why they win the division this year. So I have the Seattle Mariners taking the division at 87-75. And I think it's going to be a very, very close battle. I think the Rangers are going to be right behind them at 86-76. I don't think they're going to repeat last year's down year. And then I have the Astros finishing third place. Gosh, I'm probably so wrong, and I hate the Astros, so I'm going to put them in third place at 86 wins. Yeah, I have the Astros at 86 wins tied with the Rangers. So them both having 86 win seasons, but the Rangers will have the tiebreaker. Then I have the A's. Not a bad season for the A's. I have them at 79-83. And then I don't think the Angels will do enough. I do have them winning 70 games. I think the AL West is going to be really tight. So the biggest question is, can the Mariners finally win the West? They've been close so many times, but they will need to find some consistency, especially from their offense, if they want to hold off Texas and Houston. So that puts the AL picture at the Red Sox with the 1 seed, the Guardians with the 2 seed, the Mariners with the 3 seed. That will leave the Orioles at 4, the Royals at 5, and then the Rangers at 6. So I told you all last week that I wasn't going to predict playoff outcomes, but I received a lot of pressure. So I'm not proud of what I'm going to say next, but I did predict the playoffs. Let's start with the NL. So the NL, 3-6, Cubs versus Reds. I have the Cubs coming out. I have the Mets taking out the Phillies in a 4-5 matchup. Then I have the Braves beating the Cubs in the 2-3 matchup. And then I have the Dodgers falling to the Mets, leading to a number 4 division matchup in the ALCS. Mets over Braves, the Mets going to the World Series. Then the AL, I really wish I wasn't documenting this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we have the Mariners and the Rangers in a 3-6 matchup. I picked the Rangers. Even though I want the Mariners to win, I picked the Rangers. I think the Mariners don't have quite enough to overtake the Rangers just yet. In a 4-5 matchup between the Orioles and the Royals, a rematch, I think the Orioles will take this one. After their bats went silent this year, I think they will attack the Royals and win that series. So that leaves the Orioles against their division rival, Red Sox. In a 1-4 matchup, I have the Orioles taking that one. In a 2-6 matchup between the Guardians and the Rangers, I have the Rangers taking that one. So that leaves a 4-6 matchup between the Orioles and the Rangers, and I have the Orioles as the AL champs. So that leaves a really weird World Series. That leaves the Mets and the Orioles in the World Series. I have the Orioles winning in 6. So what's interesting about this is the AL is wide open this year, and I think the Yankees are not going to be the same powerhouse. They don't have enough depth to be one. And I think the Orioles are going to make a big move by the trade deadline. If their starting rotation isn't working out, they're going to make a big move to get a frontline starter. This season is so wide open, and they have so much talent that it would be really strange if they don't pivot and just go for it, because the path is very clear for them right now. The NL, honestly, I think the Dodgers is low-hanging fruit, and part of it might be some bias that I want them to lose. And the other part of it is this really expensive lineup, this billions of dollar lineup that they put together, still need to perform. Could their confidence really hurt them down the stretch? I think it's possible. And then the Mets are definitely going to be driven. So if those two link up in the playoffs, I think the Mets will take it this time. So really strange World Series, but I think it's possible. I don't know. Regardless, it's documented, right? The year is going to be shaping up to be a really competitive year. A lot of teams have gotten better. A lot of divisions have gotten tighter. The races between them have gotten tighter. And the NL, it has some heavyweights. it would be easy to pick the NL champion this year to also be the World Series champion, but who knows? So can the Dodgers live up to their expectations? Can the Mariners finally take control of the AL West? I don't know. So if you have any opinions, please reach out and tell me. You can like it, you can dislike it. I'm all about it. That's going to end today's episode of Keep It Electric. Opening day is tomorrow, folks. Tomorrow. I'll see you next Friday.